In this episode, everything looks normal until one small detail turns the entire investigation on its head. It's the kind of clue anyone could miss, but Rex doesn't, and once he reacts, the team realizes they're facing a case that's far more dangerous than it first appeared. The episode begins with a quiet morning in St. John's, where the city seems calm and still. But that calm breaks fast when the police receive a call about a strange disturbance at an old storage facility near the docks. At first, it sounds like a simple break-in. Nothing unusual, nothing urgent, but the moment Hudson arrives, he senses something is off. The air feels heavy, the lights are flickering, and the main door looks forced open but not in a clean, professional way. It's messy, rushed, and almost panicked. Rex walks in first, sniffing around the entrance. Hudson watches him closely, because Rex never reacts this sharply unless something serious has happened. There's no body in sight, no sign of violence, no immediate threat. But Rex's behavior tells a different story. He pulls Hudson toward the far corner of the building, where stacks of cardboard boxes have collapsed in a strange pattern. It looks like someone was searching for something, not stealing. Whoever it was clearly didn't have time to clean up their mess. Hudson crouches down and looks more closely at the ground. There's a trail of scattered object pieces of a torn envelope, a small metal tag, and a streak of something dark rubbing against the concrete. It's not blood, it's oil, and not just any oil. This kind comes from a machine, the type used in specific industrial equipment. It's a tiny clue, but one that immediately shifts the direction of the case. A random break-in wouldn't involve specialized materials like this. Someone came here with a purpose. While Hudson studies the surroundings, Rex's attention moves toward a narrow back hallway. The space is dim, dusty, and almost completely silent. Yet Rex stops at the doorway, ears up, body stiff. Hudson follows him inside. The hallway is lined with storage lockers, each one locked and numbered. But locker number 14 stands out. The lock has been snapped clean off, like someone forced their way in recently. Inside, the locker looks mostly empty, except for a single item lying in the corner, a notebook with ripped pages, smeared dirt, and faint writing on the cover. It seems unimportant at first glance, but the way Rex nudges it tells Hudson there's more to it. Hudson carefully picks it up, turning the cover slowly. The name written on it is barely readable, smudged almost beyond recognition. But the date on the corner is fresh, just 2 days old. Why would someone break into a storage unit just to steal or search through a notebook? And more importantly, why leave it behind in this condition? This opens a long list of questions, none with simple answers. As Hudson steps out of the hallway, he notices a faint sound coming from the upper level of the facility, like a metal chain settling into place. It's subtle, easy to ignore, but Hudson knows better. He waits, listening, trying to understand if it's just the old structure or something else. Rex already knows. His head snaps up, and he's instantly alert, pulling Hudson toward the staircase. This is the first real sign that they're not alone. The stairs creak under Hudson's weight, each step echoing into the empty building. At the top, a walkway runs along the walls, giving a clear view of the entire storage floor. As Hudson scans the area, he notices something, a shadow moving behind a stack of crates. It's quick, almost too quick, but enough to confirm that someone was watching them the entire time. Before Hudson can take another step, the shadow disappears, slipping out through a side exit that leads straight into the maze of alleys near the docks. Hudson rushes toward the exit, but by the time he reaches it, the person is gone without a trace. All that remains is a slight scent trail that only Rex can pick up. And that's when the real chase begins, not a chase on foot, but a chase for answers. Because now Hudson knows this wasn't a random crime scene. Someone was there, watching, waiting, making sure the team didn't discover something they were desperate to hide. The moment Hudson returns to the station, the energy shifts. What seemed like a simple break-in is now turning into something deeper. And no one on the team can shake the feeling that the person hiding inside that storage facility wasn't just trespassing. They were guarding something. The first clue comes from the notebook recovered at the scene. Sarah examines it with careful eyes, flipping through every damaged page. Most of the writing has been smudged or scratched out, almost as if someone tried to erase entire conversations or plans. But Sarah spots something important on one of the corners, a symbol that looks like a small triangle with a line through it. It's faint but clear enough to recognize. She's seen that symbol before in a case involving illegal shipments moving through the docks. Hudson leans forward, already putting the pieces together, but he knows better than to jump to conclusions. He needs proof. That's when Jesse walks into the room with new information. He pulled security camera footage from the area around the storage facility. even though the building itself had no working cameras. One of the exterior cameras across the street caught a blurry figure entering the building late at night. The person is wearing a hoodie, head down, moving like someone who doesn't want to be noticed. But here's the strange part. The person doesn't leave through the main entrance. They vanish from the camera's viewpoint entirely, as though they slipped into the shadows with skill, not fear. This is the first hint that the suspect knows the area very well. Meanwhile, Rex sits quietly beside Hudson, but his ears lift each time Jesse rewinds the footage. Dogs don't need high-definition images. They rely on movement, posture, patterns, and something about the suspect's walk makes Rex restless. Hudson takes note, because Rex's instincts rarely fail. The investigation now moves toward identifying the first suspect. The storage facility has a list of tenants, and Hudson asks for the last 3 people who rented units in that hallway. 2 of them check out as a lead. They're regular citizens with nothing suspicious in their backgrounds. The third person, however, raises eyebrows. His name appears to be linked to business fronts that never existed and phone numbers that lead nowhere. Hudson and Arlie drive to the address listed on the tenant's file. It's a small, run-down building in a quiet neighborhood. It should feel harmless, but something about it seems wrong. The windows are papered over, the front door is scratched, and the mailbox is overflowing with letters that no one bothered to collect. It looks abandoned, yet the lock on the door is too new. Someone has been here recently. Inside, the air smells like dust and old wood, but hidden beneath that is something sharp and chemical. The kind of scent used in industrial cleaning or machinery maintenance. Hudson immediately recognizes it as the same type of oil found in the facility. On the table sits a small metal container. It's empty but carries a slight residue that matches the oil streak on the concrete back at the warehouse. This tells Hudson the suspect wasn't searching for random items. They were dealing with equipment or parts meant for something bigger. Just as Hudson begins to examine the place further, Rex alerts. He stands near the back door, nose pressed toward the crack beneath it. Hudson slowly opens it, revealing a narrow path leading behind the house. The ground shows fresh shoe prints, clear enough to indicate someone left not long before they arrived. Back at the station, Sarah connects another piece of the puzzle. The symbol found in the notebook belonged to a defunct shipping company that was shut down years ago for transporting illegal, mechanical components across borders. No one has used that symbol since the company collapsed. Yet here it is, showing up again in a notebook hidden inside a broken locker. That means someone is reviving old operations. Someone who understands how to move items without drawing attention. The team begins mapping the docks, comparing old shipment logs with recent activities. Strangely, certain containers have been checked in but never checked out, a pattern so subtle it could easily go unnoticed. This discovery leads to one conclusion. The break-in was not about stealing. It was about covering tracks. Someone wanted to erase evidence, but they didn't finish the job before Hudson and Rex arrived. By the end of the section, Hudson finally understands the weight of what they are dealing with. This isn't a simple case of theft. It's a web stretching across old criminal networks, secret shipments, and a suspect who is clever enough to stay hidden and bold enough to watch the police from the shadows. And now that Rex has their scent, the game has changed. The suspect can run, but they won't stay invisible for long. As the case grows larger, the pressure inside the station rises with it. Everyone feels it, but they handle it in their own way. Hudson keeps pacing around Jesse's desk, replaying the security footage in his mind, trying to understand what kind of person slips in and out of a building so quietly. Rex watches him closely, sensing the shift in his mood. The bond between them has always been strong, but in moments like this, it becomes almost unspoken teamwork. Rex nudges Hudson's hand lightly, reminding him to breathe, reminding him that they're in this together. Jesse, meanwhile, tries to break the tension with his usual energy. He has been digging through digital footprints for hours, cross-checking the strange tenant's name with old transport records and shut-down warehouse ID. But the more he searches, the more things don't connect. Sarah, on the other hand, works silently in her lab, examining every fingerprint, every scrap of paper, and every chemical trace. But the notebook bothers her more than she shows. The pages look like someone tried to destroy information in a hurry, which means they panicked. And panic always leads to mistakes. She isolates a small corner of a torn page that still carries faint writings just to numbers, barely visible, but enough to form a clue. She takes a picture, enhances the contrast, and discovers what the numbers represent. A container ID used at the docks 3 years ago. That ID belonged to a shipment tied to the old company that used the triangle symbol. This confirms what the team feared: someone has brought the past back to life. While Sarah puts her findings together, Hudson and Charlie return to the scene at the storage facility. This time, the sunlight hits the building differently, revealing details they missed before. Hudson stops near the broken locker again, noticing faint marks on the floor that run deeper than the crushed boxes. They look like drag marks, long, thin, and precise. Something heavy was pulled out of that locker, something that left grooves on the concrete, but the notebook was too light to cause that. This means the notebook was not the main target, it was a leftover. Something the intruder didn't have time to take. Charlie focuses on the rear walkway, where the shadow disappeared the first time. She notices a loose metal panel barely hanging by its screws. Behind it is a narrow maintenance passage barely wide enough for one person. It leads to a ladder that goes straight to the roof. This explains how the suspect escaped without being captured on any external camera. They didn't leave through the door, they went up. Hudson climbs the ladder and finds the roof coated in dust, except for one clear set of footprints leading to the opposite edge. The prints stop at a corner where the view opens directly to the dockside. From here, the suspect could watch the entire area without being noticed. The realization is unsettling. Whoever they're chasing isn't just familiar with the surroundings, they're familiar with how the police operate. They knew exactly where to stand, where to hide, and when to run before Hudson can take another step. Rex signals again. His nose picks up a faint scent that the wind nearly erased. He follows it to the edge of the roof, where a small piece of torn cloth clings to a sharp protruding nail. The cloth is dark, worn, and smells strongly of the same industrial oil found earlier. It's a small piece, but it ties everything together. The suspect has been working with machinery, real machinery, the kind used for moving crates, lifting cargo, or handling restricted equipment. Back at the station, the team gathers all their findings on the board: the notebook, the oil traces, the renewed symbol, the container ID. The escape route, all of it forms a half-complete map of a plan in motion, but they are still missing one key piece: the motive. Why reopen an operation that was shut down years ago? Why break into a storage unit just to remove one unknown object? And why risk being seen in the process? Jesse gets his breakthrough late in the evening. He discovers an old shipment file that was deleted from public records but survived in a forgotten backup system. The file shows that the container linked to the triangle symbol was never fully processed. It was flagged for inspection but disappeared from the system before authorities could seize it. This means that whatever was inside it has been hidden for years, waiting. Hudson realizes the truth at the same moment. Rex lifts his head, sensing his sudden clarity. The suspect isn't trying to start something new. They're trying to finish something that was interrupted long ago. The missing item from the locker wasn't random. It was a hidden part of a much bigger puzzle, one that someone has gone to great lengths to keep buried. And now, the team knows they're running out of time. The culprit has a head start, a plan in motion, and years of silence to cover their tracks. But they also made one mistake. They crossed paths with Rex. The truth finally hits the team the next morning. And it hits harder than any of them expected. Sarah finishes reconstructing the faded writing inside the notebook, piecing together letters and fragments of words that seemed completely random at first. But after hours of careful work, she discovers something chilling. The missing object from the locker wasn't paperwork, money, or machinery. It was a prototype, a small mechanical device designed years ago, meant to control industrial equipment remotely. It was never approved, never tested fully, and certainly never meant for public use. Yet someone is determined to bring it back. Hudson takes a deep breath as Sarah explains that the prototype could override safety systems on large equipment, meaning cranes, lifts, and cargo loaders could be controlled from a distance without anyone noticing. If the wrong person used it, they could move shipments undetected, reroute valuable cargo, or even disable entire dock operations. It would be the perfect tool for smuggling. And now, it's missing. The realization that the storage facility break-in was not about destroying evidence but about recovering something sends a shock across the team. Hudson knows the suspect is planning to use the device soon, likely tonight. Criminal operations rely on timing, and something this risky wouldn't stay hidden for long. The docks become the center of attention, not because they are the starting point, but because they are the final destination. Charlie digs through old records and finds one more clue: an abandoned loading bay near the end of Pier 12. It was shut down years ago due to structural issues, but the city never demolished it. That means it still has working underground access tunnels that connect to the main docking line. If the suspect wants to use the device without being seen, that's the perfect place to do it. Hudson, Rex, Charlie, and Jesse head to the pier as the sun begins to set. The atmosphere feels heavier than usual, as if the cold air is warning them of what's waiting beneath. The loading bay looks lifeless from the outside, rusted doors, dark windows, and silence surrounding the entire area. But Rex senses something the moment they step out of the truck. He lowers his head, ears pinned forward, scanning the shadows. His body stiffens. Something is moving inside. Hudson motions for everyone to stay quiet as they enter. The interior is a maze of old metal beams, stacked crates, and machinery that hasn't been touched in years. But the deeper they go, the clearer the truth becomes. The suspect has been here recently. Footprints cover the dusty floor, and fresh oil stains mark the walkway leading toward the underground tunnel entrance. As they reach the tunnel, a faint humming noise vibrates through the air, soft, rhythmic, and mechanical. Hudson knows exactly what it is. The stolen prototype is running. Someone has activated it. The team moves faster now, aware that every second counts. The tunnel opens into a wide underground chamber lined with old conveyor belts and cargo lifts. And in the center of it all stands the suspect, hunched over a control panel connected to a large loading crane above. The moment Hudson steps forward, the suspect jerks their head up. Their face is hidden by a hood, but their posture shows tension, not fear, but desperation. They slam a button on the device, and the crane above comes alive, swinging violently from one side to the other. Loose equipment crashes to the floor. Sparks fly from metal-on-metal contact, and the entire chamber turns into a moving trap. Hudson shouts for the team to take cover as the crane swings again, this time smashing into a row of crates that collapse like dominoes. Rex isn't startled, he's focused. He weaves through the chaos, heading straight for the suspect while avoiding falling debris with remarkable instinct. Hudson tries to follow, but the shifting machinery blocks his path. The suspect sees Rex approaching and panics, fumbling with the device, trying to shut the dog out by activating another mechanism. A conveyor belt jerks forward, blocking Rex's path momentarily, but he leaps over it with a burst of strength. The suspect attempts to run deeper into the chamber, but Rex is faster. With precise timing, he grabs hold of the suspect's sleeve, pulling them to the ground without causing harm. Hudson reaches them just as the suspect tries to activate the device again. He quickly pulls it from their hand and shuts it off, instantly silencing the roaring machinery overhead. The chamber goes quiet, except for the suspect's heavy breathing and Rex's low growl, signaling the end of the chase. With the device secured and the suspect in custody, the truth finally comes out. The suspect was once part of the old shipping company, the very team that created the prototype. When the company collapsed, they went into hiding, waiting for the right moment to recover what they believed belonged to them. They planned to sell the device to a new group willing to restart illegal operations at the docks. The break-in, the destroyed notebook, the escape through the roof, everything was part of a plan to restore a criminal network that had stayed dormant for years. As Hudson leads the suspect out of the chamber, he looks at Rex with a quiet sense of pride. Once again, Rex didn't just help solve the case, he prevented something much bigger from happening. The city is safe because of him, and the final piece of the puzzle falls into place. The past can try to return, but as long as Hudson and Rex are on the case, it won't succeed.